Hey there, I'm Tini, and in this video I'm going to show you my process of writing articles fast. If you're writing articles for your own blog as a guest writer or for someone else, you know that sometimes it might take you longer to get it done. There's also the procrastination that we sometimes invoke, either for objective reasons such as letting the idea marinate, or simply because we think it's going to take a long time. You know, one of the reasons for which I sometimes postpone things is because I think that particular task is giving value and anticipation or excitement to my life. So once that task or project is done, well, what am I supposed to do next? Scratching that, let's say you're committed to writing the article and you're about to get started. Here's how I do it. I follow a 5-step process. The first step is coming up with an idea. Then I create an outline. I move on to writing. I continue with research, and then I review and edit. So let's break these down. Step 1 out of 5, idea. Coming up with an idea depends on the nature of the article. If you're writing for someone else, then they might give you the idea. If not, you need to come up with your own. What I do is I usually take something from my life and experience and turn that into an article. Or I conduct some sort of research to see what people might be interested in. But the most important thing to consider here is to write about something that you'd love to read. This helps you avoid getting stuck on choosing an idea. Then I start with a title. Even if it's a temporary one, I write it. This is basically the idea written down. This helps the idea take shape and come to life. One thing that I do is that I always format as I go because it makes me feel like I'm moving forward. You can already notice that I started this as how to write a well-documented article, but the title has changed to how to write an article fast without overthinking. Step 2 out of 5, outline. This is a rough outline and you can go about it in 2 ways. One is letting the outline form as you go, and another one is to break the idea down into steps, kind of like what I did here with the presentation. I could easily turn this into an article having 5 main steps to focus on. Now the outline has to have coherence and flow. One section into the other. You might nail it from the beginning or see it change as you go. Either way, I always have an outline ready. I use brainstorming as a technique to come up with an outline. Put all your ideas on paper and see what main categories you identify. Step 3 out of 5, writing. Then I immediately start writing. You have all the ideas fresh in your mind after the brainstorming session. Think of the article as having an introduction, a body, and an ending. Sometimes I end up rewriting the introduction based on what's covered in the article, but it helps when you write it down so as not to think about it too much. You know, kind of like leaving something unresolved and that something always stays on the back of your mind. Now, I write what I know about the topic. Yes, this is before the research part. The only piece of research I do at this point is looking through my previous materials, articles, ideas, and see whether I've written anything on this topic before. Even if you think you know nothing about a topic, you'll be surprised. Just write questions down if nothing else comes to mind. This step helps you get creative and see things from a different perspective instead of recycling information you find somewhere else. Step 4 out of 5, research. It's time to conduct some research. You probably already have some reliable resources at hand. I use books, ebooks, and reliable websites with studies. I write mainly on health, nutrition, mindset, writing, course creation, so most often I use my own experiences. But if I were to give you an example, I've recently written an article on sugar cravings, and I was talking about hormone stuff, neurotransmitters, so some reliable references needed to be made. What I did was go to the US National Library of Medicine and cite the relevant studies. At times I would check out other websites like healthline.com and see what studies they mentioned on the topic, and then I read the studies, used the info, I make it my own, and point to the study for further details. Now, think about what you need next. For instance, I take the general topic and see what credible resources have to say about it. Then I take every part of the outline and look up studies. I add that to my material in my own voice. I always think about it, how would I explain this to a child? Because this helps me understand the topic more, and it also helps the reader read smoothly throughout. Step 5 out of 5. Now, this is the point in the article a writing process in which I take a break. I leave the article for a while. The more time apart, the better, because you let the ideas sink in, you let the writing rest, so that when you come back to edit, you'll be looking at the article objectively and spot any mistakes, or be able to add fresh ideas and make sure that everything flows. Now, this is pretty straightforward. I read the article and edit as I go. I rewrite the introduction if I need to, and make sure everything is readable and error-free. So what I do is I use Hemingway app and Grammarly to check for readability and mistakes. Now, that's the 5-step process. It helps me not overthink the article writing process. And I know there are 2 questions that I want to address. Should you have a word limit? Now, I don't, because I find that this limits me. So I just write everything that I think is relevant. If there's an imposed word limit, I make sure I always write more, so it's easier to take out instead of stretching the words to fit a limit. And then, should you have a deadline? Always. Even if it's a self-imposed one, it will help you get things done faster and you'll be more productive. That's it on how I write an article fast without overthinking it. I hope it has helped and inspired you. If you found this useful, hit the like button, share the video with others, and subscribe for more. Until next time, stay inspired and have fun.